A month before Chapter 5 started, we were actually sent back to the OG map to experience our past memories. This brought back old locations, weapons, and graphics. When we entered Chapter 5, this will be considered the chapter that changed Fortnite's identity forever. This is the fall of Chapter 5 and what went wrong. Chapter 5 had massive hype going into it, and that was mainly for the fact that OG was before it, and we had millions of players playing the game, and they all wanted to check out the new chapter coming after OG. Chapter 1 was really unique with how they did gameplay, and so Chapter 5 had to match this, as well as the graphics. This leads to the first problem of Chapter 5. When players loaded into Chapter 5, the first thing they would notice is the graphics. They were now dull and saturated, which was really different to how OG was, which was colourful and less dull and more saturated. By taking away this element, they took away the cartoony style of Fortnite that many people fell in love with. It almost felt like Fortnite was just becoming another basic battle royale. The cartoony style was mainly why people fell in love with this game. Weapon mods were highly requested by many players, and so Fortnite had to do this right. By doing this incorrect, it could upset a lot of the player base. I do think they did this right, but I think they messed up on a few things. Fortnite made a questionable decision by putting mods on every weapon. So, for example, if you didn't want a shotgun with a scope, too bad, because it spawned with a scope. This would sometimes cause problems because you may pull out your shotgun in endgame and get eliminated because you didn't realise that your shotgun has a scope. And the only way you were able to take this off is actually the weapon mods around the map, but there was actually only 5 on the map. And they were in boss vaults, so they were really hard to access. In OG, the movement was simplistic and fit the cartoony style. When players loaded up Chapter 5, they would realise that their beloved movement for 7 years that worked really well was removed. They would realise that it's realistic, and this reinforced the idea of Fortnite being realistic, which many players didn't want. Although it sounds like I'm ranting, I actually do have to give credit for them to explore the game and make it different, but I think it's just better to keep it simplistic and cartoony. The UI in the lobby actually had a different problem, and this was the fact that it was too simplistic, and it actually looked like a phone game, and it was very unpopular amongst the community. It is still in the game right now, and it looks like it's never going to go away now, so we're just going to have to put up with it. And this brings us to Season 2. As players loaded up the Battle Pass, they would realise that many of the skins looked questionable. Many players voiced their opinions and showed that they were unhappy with what the designs were like. They said that Zeus wearing camouflage trousers was not a right fit for a Greek god, and they described Aphrodite as looking like a tennis player. To be honest, I don't get the hate, and it didn't affect the season in any way for me, but yeah, a lot of players were very unhappy with this change. Fortnite started this season as well by removing locker rarities, and this started a lot of controversy because it actually took away the colour from the locker. And remember, Chapter 5 was very dull to start with, so to take away colours from lockers was a very questionable change. And rarity was a good way to check how much a skin would be worth, and many players actually think that they took away locker rarities so that they could increase prices of cosmetics. The new avatar update brought new mythics to the game, but that wasn't the problem. The problem was they took away all the Greek god mythics for these items, which basically meant that the theme was ruined for this season just because of a collab. This collab lasted 21 days, and remember, a season is about 3 months, so to have basically a whole month dedicated to collabs and not a themed season, it is a really weird thing to do. And this brings us to Season 3. I think we all know what I'm about to say for this one. I did make a video on this a few days ago, so if you want to check that out after this video, you can. Okay, so of course the cars were the problem of this season, and I'd say this is probably the biggest controversy we've seen since mechs were in the game. I actually found these cars really fun and really unique, but a lot of players definitely didn't because they were complaining. This season also had nitro fists, and many people said these were overpowered. And by the time they added something to counter the cars, it was a bit too late because many people quit the game. It was very clear at this time that Fortnite were really concerned about their game, as they made a new game mode, Reload, which was basically a simplistic version of Chapter 1 that was really small, and you had all the classic weapons and stuff like that. There was no cars, there was no overpowered weapons, it was perfect. Yeah, it was perfect for anyone that just wanted to chill and relax on the game. And of course, Reload is still seeing success now. Season 4 didn't really have any problems in my opinion. I'd say the jetpacks were a bit unfair because if you didn't have one, you were basically screwed. But yeah, this season was definitely improvement from the 3 other seasons we'd seen in the past. I think this season could have been really fun, but of course many people were burnt out from the game at this point. And I think it was just hard to grab the players' attentions at this point because Chapter 5 was just uninteresting to many players. What do I think they could have done better? Probably changed the graphics at the start of the chapter and made it more vibrant and saturated. I think the UI definitely needs a rework and a change and make rarities look more colourful. I don't think they're going to do this, but never replace a season's theme. Yeah, so just don't make the collabs overpower the season. I did like seeing Chapter 5 being an experimental chapter. I think that was obvious from the beginning they were trying new things. Yeah, I think they have to be careful with experimenting with new weapons, but yeah, it was still really good. But yeah, Fortnite have definitely improved on some of these, with the graphics in Chapter 6 being a lot more vibrant and saturated. They added so many of the weapons that are stronger, have limited uses, and break after a certain amount of times by using them. And I think this is a really good change because it balances the game more. And I like how they're focusing collabs more on the other game modes, which is a really good change. Because I think Battle Royale needed a break from all the collabs, and they definitely get in there now. And I think the storyline is getting back to a position where it's going to be good. It's starting to talk about the 7 a lot more now, so I hope to see them in the future. And it has been leaked that we will see a faction return, so it could either be the 7 or IO or maybe the Last Reality. But yeah, I really hope to see a really big shift in storyline. Do you think Fortnite have recovered from Chapter 5? Let me know in the comments, guys. I read it every single one. So yeah, I would love to hear your opinions. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you did enjoy this video. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you, guys. Peace.